The so-called special relationship between America and Britain is being put to the test over a strategic Indian Ocean territory. It is claimed the UK will deny Donald Trump using a shared military base on Diego Garcia for strikes on Iran. The report follows hot on the heels of the US president launching a fresh attack on Prime Minister Keir Starmer and his decision to hand sovereignty of the Chagos Islands to Mauritius.
Should Iran decide not to make a deal, it may be necessary for the United States to use Diego Garcia and the airfield located in Fairford in order to eradicate a potential attack by a highly unstable and dangerous regime. Prime Minister Starmer should not lose control, for any reason, of Diego Garcia by entering a tenuous, at best, 100-year lease. Do not give away Diego Garcia.
Well, the rift between Washington and Westminster over the Chagos Islands has reportedly entered a new phase after months of mixed messages emanating out of America. Here's a look back at the timeline. In April last year, Donald Trump, he praised the UK for handing over the Chagos Islands to Mauritius, calling it a positive step. Just weeks later, Secretary of State Marco Rubio formally backed this agreement as well. But by January 2026, Donald Trump reversed course, publicly criticizing the deal and then questioning its implications for US strategic interests. In early February, Trump and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, they spoke by phone, with both stressing the agreement's importance. Just days later, the US State Department reiterated Washington's official support for the deal handing the islands to Mauritius. But that lasted barely 24 hours, with the US president once again urging the UK to abandon the agreement. Currently, it is sitting in limbo in Britain's parliamentary system, waiting for the seal of approval. In fact, joining me now for some insight is Padma Rao Sundarji, an independent journalist who's long covered the region and the Chagos Islands specifically. A very warm welcome to you. Ma'am, the US, it is openly criticizing UK for its decision. Now, why is Washington so upset at this moment?
Hello, Osama. It's nice to be back on your show. There are two reasons I would see. One is there's a large element of psyops, because every now and then, we do hear that President Trump is about to launch an attack on Iran. And, so a sizable amount of these statements are kind of psychological operations to put pressure on Iran, because, there are talks going on. Sometimes they're stalling, sometimes they're picking up again. So there is a certain amount of, there is an element of psyops there. The other thing is that, this may be an attempt, because as you know, the arrangement was as follows. There was a court order from the International Court of Justice. It wasn't an order, it was more of a recommendation. Yeah. And being under a lot of public pressure, in the name of human rights, the UK government under Mr. Keir Starmer wanted to hand back the Chagos archipelago to Mauritius, to whom they belonged many decades ago. But now that President Trump is, has mentioned Diego Garcia several times, on which he has his military base. I think there has been a second round of thinking even amongst in the United Kingdom, because the Prime Minister is under a lot of pressure also from the opposition in the UK to rethink the decision. Now, but what kind of rethinking is necessary here? What President Trump is really saying is he's focusing on the island of Diego Garcia, even though he says, that there would be a security risk overall if there were other people left on the Chagos archipelago. But I see a way out for the UK could be to sort of renegotiate the deal with Mauritius and perhaps not promise to hand all of the islands back, including Diego Garcia, and then lease back Diego Garcia from Mauritius. That is what President Trump is trying to avoid. So I think there may be a way out if the UK government launches fresh negotiations with Mauritius on the rest of the archipelago, while keeping Diego Garcia out of the deal. So I think this could be something that might work and might also assuage some of the concerns and some of the criticism that's Prime Minister Keir Starmer has been attracting.
Padma Rao Sundarji, just for a better understanding of our viewers, how critical is this particular base for US power projection, especially in the Indian Ocean and the Middle East?
It's very, very critical, Osama. I mean, I've been speaking to Indian analysts, military analysts, who have made it very, very clear that if they were in the US position, they would be doing the same thing. These islands are basically the southernmost tip of of a volcanic stretch of islands that begin at Lakshadweep. Then there's the Maldives, and further south is the Chagos archipelago. So these are situated right bang in the middle of the Indian Ocean, and the Indian Ocean itself is situated right bang in the middle of the so-called Indo-Pacific. And as you know, Osama, this is the area through which oil tankers traverse, carrying very, very crucial energy supplies from east to west. So from here, the United States has a vantage point. It can, it has a huge military. It's one of the most important military bases of the United States outside the United States, and it can monitor practically all the regions that it is currently at some level of friction with, right from Iran to Afghan, of course, the AFPAC region in any case. But the chief reason why the United States wants to really be there is, of course, China, and to an extent, of course, also Iran. Osama.
Padmarao Sundarji, speaking about Iran, could Iran, quietly benefit from this visible crack between the US and UK?
It might be a sort of pipe dream, but that's not going to happen, because I don't think Iran stands very much to benefit, and there really isn't that much tension. I think the United Kingdom will eventually come around, because let's not forget that the United Kingdom and the United States are very, very old strategic partners, and they have common interests, more important than anything. I mean, importantly, to keep an eye on energy supplies, to keep an eye on the free flow of energy supplies and of critical minerals and of all kinds of other things which the entire developed world as well as the developing world needs. I think the UK also needs the military presence of a very close ally in the Indian Ocean, and so it will certainly be looking to sort of assuage the situation and to sort of come to some kind of an agreement. What I would imagine and what I think would be wise for all the parties concerned is to keep the involvement of Mauritius very much in the picture, because it is ultimately Mauritius which is going to be the deal breaker or the deal maker in this whole situation.
Speaking about China, does Beijing see an opportunity to expand influence in the Indian Ocean now?
Well, Beijing has already expanded influence massively across the Indian Ocean, Osama, as a part of the Belt and Road Initiative. There are many, many countries which are already a part of it. Bangladesh is a part of the BRI. Sri Lanka is a part of the BRI. Even the Maldives, which has recently laid claims, revived an old claim on the Chagos archipelago, is also a very, very crucial member of the BRI. And China's interest goes all the way to Djibouti and, many, many states of Eastern Africa as well. So China is very much already invested in the Indian Ocean, and will be, obviously concerned if its movements are going to be monitored so closely by the United States. Because up to now, I mean, the Chinese movements have been monitored, but a U.S. presence and a heightened U.S. presence in Diego Garcia would obviously keep China very preoccupied, and that again may perhaps be good news for many states in the region, including India.
Padmarao Sundarji, thank you very much for speaking with RT India and sharing your thoughts.
Most welcome. Thank you.